Hey, okay. Welcome to how I said goodbye to back pain and painkillers and how I can exercise now, how I can live a normal life like normal people. And this is kind of where it started. So let me just get started real fast, or let me rewind. My name is Ashley. My name is Ashley Hall, and I have suffered with a chronic back condition for over 13 years. And I have had to learn tips and tricks along the way to get to the fit, active lifestyle that I live now. I wasn't always able to be this active. I was very debilitated by my pain and depression that came as a result of it. And I will go through that in just a minute. Thanks for liking this. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for watching. And let me just go back to when I was about 17 years old or so, and I first started experiencing back pain. Now, let me just relate this to you. The way that I experienced my pain might be different than the way other people experience theirs. But the way that I experienced mine, it was just an ache. It started as just an ache in my back, just ached all the time. And I would wake up with it. I thought maybe it's my mattress. I thought, why is my lower back hurting? I'm 17 years old. I thought maybe I needed to exercise more. I would exercise. It might take it away for a little while, but then it would get worse. And it just progressively got worse. Every time I would try to exercise, it would just start getting worse. I ended up getting into a fender bender when I was about 16 years old, close to 17. And I went to chiropractor for a little while shortly after that. But then a few months later, I started having a lot of neck pain. And this relates to my back, I promise. And I decided that when my mom decided to take me in to see the orthopedic surgeon to figure out what was wrong with my neck, to just mention that I had been complaining about my back. Just mention it. So we mentioned it. They took x-rays of both spots since they were already taking x-rays. And my neck was totally reparable. It was totally reversible, totally fine. It was just a result of the way my muscles had tightened after the fender bender, the whiplash and all of that. My lower back, however, was more of an issue. So we went on a journey to figure out what was wrong. MRIs. I had what they call a discogram. And if you know what that is, it's like a spinal tap. And it hurts worse than labor. I've had kids naturally, and I can tell you that this pain hurt worse than having my kids. It was like my back was exploding, and it was the worst pain I'd ever experienced. All to figure out where my pain was coming from. I was on a journey to find out that basically what was happening to me was irreversible, and it could potentially get much worse. And I could potentially need that same back surgery that my mom had to have when I was 16 years old, just a couple years prior. And I remember laying in the hospital bed so confused as to why, because they had to inject this dye into my spine, or into the discs that were in question, to figure out where the fluid was going, why it was leaking, why I felt like bugs were crawling over my toes all the time, why I had sciatica symptoms at 17 years old. And I remember my mom was there, and I cried. I couldn't even hold back the tears. And if you know me, I don't cry when I'm in extreme pain. I don't, unless it's beyond my control. I don't even cry when I have my kids. I don't cry when I'm in pain. It's like something comes over me and I can hold it together usually. But this time, I just cried. It hurt so bad. So through all of this physical therapy, I basically was left with taking painkillers to just manage the pain. And that's kind of where I was left. Just take these pills. By the way, if you take 2 of these, you can't drive a car. So don't take 2. But you could take 1 and maybe take an ibuprofen with it, or maybe take some Aleve with it, or something like that. So that was my future. Painkillers to manage the pain, and hopefully it doesn't get worse. Insurance wouldn't cover a simple procedure that would have just warmed up my discs in a way to help them seal back up. Because I wasn't a candidate for that procedure, even though the recovery time was 2 weeks. Instead, they recommended that I just wait it out, do physical therapy again. I'd already done physical therapy, and it wasn't taking it away completely. It wasn't fixing the problem. And I got so consumed with fixing the problem that I ignored a lot of the things that were in my control. But I also was scared of making it worse, because what did they tell me could happen? Oh, your disc will just explode one day and you'll have a herniated disc, and then you'll need a spinal fusion just like your mom had. And it was horrific thinking about her 6 to 8 month healing process, and she still had permanent nerve damage, and she still couldn't be that mother that she had been for years and years. Like, that's what's ahead of me. I felt hopeless. For years, my mom had been struggling with back pain for years, and I hadn't been able to enjoy her presence as a result of that, because she was so consumed in pain. Like, she couldn't be there for me as much as she wanted to be and as much as I needed her. Great, we all have a sob story. Okay, I get it. But here's the thing. Like, when I was 18, 19 years old, I went to massage school, because I thought, okay, I'm going to take my life into my hands. I'm going to go to massage school because I know massages help. Maybe I'll learn more. Maybe this will be how I learn how to fix it or make it better. I believed with every fiber of my being that it wasn't hopeless. I didn't want to live my life expecting it to get worse. I wanted to make it better. So I went to massage school, and as a result of giving the massages that I gave, and I went to a school that taught a method specifically that uses a lower table, so you're not bending up over a client, that you're actually using your body weight to massage the client, and you're not hurting your back in any way, shape, or form. You actually hold your core tight. The whole massage was a workout. And so as I'm giving these massages, a few months in, I'm like, well, once I actually started giving massages, a couple weeks in, my pain was gone. It was gone. All the methods that I had been learning up to that point, how to hold my legs so that I didn't strain my back, how to hold my arms so I didn't hurt my wrists, and so then my eyes were opened. There is something that I can do in my day-to-day life besides doubt and giving into the pain and taking painkillers and listening to what everyone else is telling me. There is something I can do to take control. So the pain was gone, and then I went to school. I went off to UT in Austin, and I wasn't able to give massages every day. And the pain crept back with a vengeance, because you're carrying this book bag all over the place, a heavy laptop, and I mean, it was just way worse. I ended up taking painkillers. I couldn't concentrate. I failed classes because I just couldn't retain the information. I was taking painkillers just so I could get to my class, only to sit there in a fog. That was not the life I wanted. Fast forward, I got married about a year later, and I threw my painkillers away because I was sick of living in a fog. And I figured that if I lived in the pain, that I would get rid of the pain. So I did. I lived in the pain for a while, and it was debilitating in many ways. And then we got pregnant with our first child. As I was trying to exercise and get control of it, I knew that if I exercised, I knew something about if my abs were tight. I didn't really understand. I mean, I'd gone to massage school, so I learned all about the muscles and anatomy. So I knew the muscles that needed to be stabilized, but I didn't really understand how to do it. I didn't understand really the principle behind it. So we get pregnant, and I'm trying really hard to have a healthy pregnancy, but I've got a job and I sit at a desk. And that was by far my hardest pregnancy. I was sitting at a desk all day. I couldn't even make it. Towards the end of my pregnancy, I couldn't even make it a full day. I had to cut back to part-time hours because my legs would swell up like crazy. My back would hurt so bad. I felt like I was just a living blob, literally, like a blob. I didn't want this life. And I couldn't imagine being a mom and living with this pain. Well, my baby comes, and I do my best to manage the pain, but it's still there. It wasn't as bad because I wasn't doing a whole lot of things, because I was just not living a life. But then we get pregnant with our second a few months later. Our first two are 15 months apart. And when she was born, I would have days because I had a toddler at this point and I had to be up and moving. I had days where my husband had to call in sick from work because I was in so much pain I couldn't even walk up the stairs. It pinched so bad in my back. And the way that I can tell you and describe to you the feeling that I would get in my feet or in my joints in general from my back down. If you've ever walked a theme park for an entire day or anywhere, like a zoo or anywhere all day, and you come home and your feet are sore and your joints are all aching because you've been out on your feet all day long, or if you have a job that has you on your feet all day long and you just have achy feet, if you're a nurse, anything, where your joints are achy when you come home and your feet hurt, imagine that and then adding fiery coals on the bottom of your feet that you can't get off of. And it burns like crazy. And that's the life I was living. I could either cook breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I could never do 2 or even 3 of them. By the time dinner rolled around, I was like scrambling to try and make something and not die. Like I was crying in pain on days where I had hardly done a single thing. I was 23 years old and crying on a daily basis because I was living in pain. But I refused to take the painkillers that I knew would take the pain away because I refused to live in a fog. And I thought that maybe it would just push me to the solution I was looking for. I mean, I would take ibuprofen or Tylenol when it would get really bad, and it would help take the edge off. And my husband would call in sick. But I finally found a program that helped me identify those inner core muscles, and I'll get more to that later. But the point is that I did not give in to the pain, and I did not let it consume me to the point that I gave up. I decided that I wasn't going to live that way. I decided, and I made a choice what I was going to do. There were days that I was so depressed that I just didn't. And I did give in, and I didn't have that like fire in me to like figure out how to conquer it. But I kept feeling discouraged because every time that I would feel like I figured it out, I mean, I couldn't give massages. I was in a different state. Like, okay, but that took my pain away. So I would like offer to my friends, like, I need to give massages because apparently it helps me. Or I needed exercise. I knew swimming would help, but I lived in a place where there was like one pool and it was like 15 minutes away and it was always full. And I mean, I couldn't get my laps in. I couldn't. I didn't want to be with all those people, all the water lapping up. I made excuses. I did get to a point in there where I kept telling myself why I couldn't conquer my pain. But in the back of my head, this voice that I let grow louder and overpower the other kept telling me that I was going to conquer this. Anyways, all right, they're not lasting out there. So essentially what I did to get rid of back pain and painkillers was that I didn't have any other option. I couldn't live in pain and I couldn't take painkillers. So I didn't want to fail at this. So basically what I'm saying is that is what pushed me on the journey to conquering my pain and getting rid of it. Now, as I talk more about this, I will talk about the things that I did to conquer the pain, the little things that I figured out along the way while my 2-year-old tries to break into my room. So on Monday at 10 o'clock, or I'll figure out the time today, but on Monday around 10 o'clock, I am going to discuss one popular move that most people do that causes or worsens lower back pain and how to fix it. There is a popular move or lack thereof that we seem to do. One thing that I was going to say before I go about this is that the days that I doubted, the days that I gave in, are actually the days that I was more prone to doing this. Are actually the days that opened my eyes to the fact that oh, this is what makes it worse. This is what causes it in the first place. And when I went to physical therapy after my fourth child, because my back pain had come back again with a vengeance, and I wasn't sure why, but then I identified that it's really hard to bring your core back after subsequent pregnancies. So it's like was taking me longer, and I just needed to be patient, and I needed to be more aggressive with bringing my inner core in versus working out like hardcore. Anyways, that physical therapist helped me identify a lot of the things that we do when we're in pain that makes it worse, and also what causes it in the first place. And I'll talk more about that in another video and even get up and show some things. But thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing. And I hope that this helps. So if you know somebody that suffers with pain, if you know somebody that's living with back pain and is talking about their only option is surgery or whatever it is, share this video or share this journey. I will share what I did, the tips and tricks that I know, and the tips and tricks that I've learned from countless doctors and physical therapists and massage therapists and everybody that I've talked to on my journey to learn how to conquer my pain and how to live without it, how to get rid of it when it comes. And I've talked about it before, how there are certain workouts that have helped. So anyways, join me on Monday. I'm going to talk about it. Talk about a move, a popular move anyways, because there's several, but I'm only going to talk about one on Monday and how you can fix it. So share this, like this, comment if you have questions. If you want a specific topic covered in regards to lower back pain, how to get to exercising, how to manage the pain, how to get out of the pain cycle, the pain depression cycle is what I call it. If you want to know about any of those things, comment below and I can do a video on that subject. And I hope this helps. I'll talk to you guys Monday. Thanks for watching.